Okay, well, we're back. I don't know what happened there, but I got booted and then I literally couldn't rejoin the same stream. So this, I guess, is a brand new stream. I don't know if I did something wrong there. Why do I have auto stop going on? What, that was never there before. Sorry everybody. Turn off auto stop OBS. I don't know where that came from. Tools, output timer, uncheck the stop options. Navigate to tools. Man, what are you doing, OBS? I guess I can't complain too much. Output timer. Stream. It's not on there. Okay, I assume that's not the case. Okay, well, here we go again. Okay, I'm going to just recap super quick. I'm not going to do all the intro stuff. I love the synthesizer, it's really great. 6 voices each, and it also has 6 machines in the Elektron style, which of course is curated kind of parameters. Each synth has 4 different parameters that are custom to that. Each machine has 4 parameters that are aligned directly to that machine, so they're different with each one. And that's the color, the shape, and the sweep, and the contour. Those 4 parameters change per machine. Then you have all these extra ones like pitch, decay, delay send, reverb send, 2 master send effects, delay and reverb, and a bunch of other stuff. And so we're just going to go ahead and move ahead and make a song and make some sounds. So I was able to start this kickoff, which I really, really like because I was able to shorten the decay, bring the pitch down, and then I added quite a bit of the square modulation, soft square they call it, and then the triangle modulation, just a little bit of that. And I used the contour knob to kind of affect how much of that was going into it. And I think it sounds pretty good. Oh, I love that contour. Basically what I consider the filter on this thing. If I go all the way. Oh yeah, that's a good punch kick. Punchy kick. And then we could add this punch and hear what happens with this. This is kind of like a simple compression, transient designer. I don't call it transient designer, just like a compression. Ooh. Makes it resonate in a weird way. Yeah, we'll go without. Okay. So now let's bring in some snare. So we've got kind of a little slow vibe going here. I find the snares on this to be actually pretty nice. I actually really do like the snares. I think the snares and the kicks are actually really great on the modal cycles. I tend to struggle with the hats, the cymbals, the hats and the crashes. It's very hard for me to get a good crash, and it's even harder for me to get a good hi-hat. So we're going to work with those. But the tone machine, which effectively is like just a regular synth sort of engine, is fantastic. And then the chord machine is extremely fun. This was the first machine I've ever owned that had a chord machine like this. And I believe it was Elektron's first because, well, I could be wrong. I mean, maybe some of the old ones had it because I've never had the pleasure of a machine drum or what's it called? The 6 mono machine. And I wish I had. Man, those are really cool looking synths. But anyways, this first one has chord machine, and I really love it because you can essentially do 4-note voiced chords. You don't get too much control over them. Like you can't spread them out real far, but you can roll through the inversions, and we'll talk about that in a second. So back to the snare. Let's find a good snare. All right. Let's see what it says for snare. So the color is going to be the inharmonicity amount. The shape is going to be modulation amount and feedback. Sweep is going to be pitch, sweep, depth. That's pretty common across all of them. Contour is the modulation envelope depth. So that's pretty common as well. So you can kind of hear how you get that real bright pop in the beginning, but it takes away all that decay with the modulation depth. Excuse me. Okay, let's hear what the sweep does. Yeah, you get that good thwack. Basically increasing how long that high pitch has to come down to the low pitch. Kind of trying to mimic what it sounds like with on the real drum. Oh yeah. It's got a good smack to it. I'll keep it about there. So the shape is going to be modulation amount and feedback. In many ways, it kind of really is just the noise, but it's a little bit more complicated than that. That doesn't sound too bad. Inharmonicity amount. Sounds like it just kind of smooths out the noise to me. Okay, we got a pretty dirty, kind of grungy FM bass. So I feel like we need to match some of that. Let's maybe take down the contour. Oh, it was already taken down. Let's get some of the decay going. Yeah. Okay, this is where we're going to come in with some LFO. So you do only get one LFO per track. And so it is very important to use it in a way that you want to, obviously, or that you really want to, because you only get the one and there's no modulation matrix. There's no additional destinations. You just get the one. So for this, I'm going to try and add maybe some modulation on either the shape, not the sweep. We could also do the decay to kind of give it more of a realistic sound as it's playing along. Maybe each hit might be a little bit different. And the decay is a good way to represent that. Let's try the shape first. So what we're going to do is go into click on LFO first. We're going to set our wave, which actually is a triangle already. I like the triangle. It's kind of my favorite preferred. I'm going to keep it there for now. The multiplier, I'm going to actually set to 8 to start off with. Just, I don't even know why I'm doing it, but I'm going to. I really love this feature. Another really cool, as far as I know, unique to the cycles and the samples. You can see as I'm adjusting the destination, it doesn't hit them all because some of them are, under the hood. But as I go, it highlights it. I love that. It's genius. And they really added those LEDs just for that purpose, because there must be, I guess when you hold sorry, I apologize. They also, when you hold a track down, that you've done some parameter locking, which is basically you hold one single step down and adjust parameters. They only affect that one step. So those parameters are only for that one step, where you go to the next one and it's going to go back to this whatever's set as your standard settings here. Holding that down, it'll show you those, and that's obviously very important, probably more important than this. But we're going to do shape. We're going to go down, click in the knob to go back to the main selection, then back into the depth. We're going to increase it. Let's hear what we get. Okay, so we got to do a couple of things here. Let's go and hold function and then click this LFO button to get to the sub menu, LFO setup. It's getting a little harder to read. Those things are actually starting to fade. I'm going to click reset, and the idea here is every time I trig the sound, it's going to start that LFO from the beginning. To me, that's an important thing for percussion, unless you're using it to kind of do some slight variation as it goes, like maybe on some hats you don't really want it. But for like a nice snappy anything, I think you're going to need that reset. Fade, we're going to ignore for now, as well as sphere. We'll leave those alone. SPH, I said sphere, but I think it's actually phase. I'm not really sure. But it is kind of like the idea of phase, where it kind of moves where the LFO starts. So if it's triangle, it's going to actually go up and then down. So if you move the phase, you can adjust it so it actually goes down and then up by starting at the high point of the triangle, going down to the 0, and back up. So we don't need to worry about that right now. So we should have this sounding better now. Yeah, let's go back to just the regular LFO menu. Okay, I got the shape sounding pretty good, but having the slow multiplier is not really giving me much going on. So I'm just quadrupled it to 32. Yeah, there we go. I like that little back end sound it has there. Cool. I added a little bit of this punch there. It actually worked out pretty well for that. Didn't take anything away. Just kind of made a little more punctuation on that transient, the very beginning. All right. Let's just hear what we have. Cool. All right. Hi-hats. Oh boy. All right. It's going to be a struggle. I am not going to be a perfectionist. We're just going to get something going here. See. I wish there was an easy way to do a high-pass filter, because to me, I really like taking out all that low end or most of it on hi-hats, because I just think it sounds better that way. Makes them a little crispy and doesn't get in the way of the fundamental kick and snare kind of undertones. Okay, let's check out our metal. So technically this is metal. Excuse me. We have a tune offset. That's our color. Let's see what that does. So obviously just the tune. 16. I think I should like that 20. Yeah, it's a little better. Shape is modulation amount and feedback. Not really telling us what we're modulating, but you can hear. Just basically the sound, I guess, in general. The two operators, I'm assuming, that are in there. Very simple. Just adds a little, basically kind of adds a little noise to it. And also kind of lightens the fundamental there. That's kind of nice. All right, sweep. Tune offset B. So yeah, it's A and B for the, what do you call them? Operators. This is an FM synthesizer, so you are dealing with operators, aka modulators and carriers, but honestly, you don't have to worry about any of that, because you can just move the knobs. None of that FM technical stuff really applies here, because you don't have that kind of control over it. Okay, I'm alright with that for now. Contour, modulation, envelope depth. Yeah. Keep that at 0. So, you know, for me, you're not going to get this right here. Doesn't give you the real nature of the sound. I'll show you why. I'm going to go ahead and do this real quick. I'm going to change it. It says MOD. It stands for mode, and what they're suggesting here is you have two choices. You have a pattern and you have track. And what that means is that each one of these tracks can have a different length for the sequencer. But you must select track mode for that. In pattern, they're all sharing the same. So if you increase one, all the other ones increase. This way, I can actually go to, what I get here? There we go. 4 on this. But I'm actually going to go to 1 first, just to design it. Okay. This is not what I'm going to do, but I just want to hear what it sounds like. Okay, you know, maybe we'll keep that. But 2 things I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and drop this hi-hats out, because when I'm playing the hi-hats and I go to the snare, as a real drummer, you're going to have to use one of those hands. And so I like to try to keep my drum compositions close to what a real drummer will sound like. It's just, I don't know, for better or worse, I guess. It creates a little bit of space for that snare to kind of sound out too. You don't really miss much. Here's the difference. Here's without. You could almost argue it sounds more like I'm ducking the hi-hats to put the snare in there, because you're kind of, your brain's kind of ghosting them in a way, I guess. I don't know. So here's where it gets much better, and here's where the Elektron sequencer is always just such a pleasure to work with. I'm going to hold multiple trigs down, and I am going to go ahead and reduce the velocity. And so you can see this lights up here, and this basically tells me that this is the area I'm now affecting. I can actually change the note for all these. Well, I don't want to do that. I'm going to click once. I'm going to go to the velocity and crank it all the way down to, let's say, 36. I'm also going to shave just a little bit of time off the length. And I'm going to do this as well. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. These are the ones I just affected. I'm going to copy them. And this is a good tip to know. Actually, I could have probably done all 4, now that I think about it. Yep. 1, 2, 3, 4. Copy. And I'm going to apply it to these as well. So we're basically getting that traditional, you know, chicka, 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 chicka. Excuse me. Oh, man. Excuse me. The driving hi-hats. Probably shouldn't drink beer while I'm doing the stream, but oh well. So we're going to apply it here. We only have to hold down the very first one that we want to actually paste to, and it's going to add the rest to them. That's a good little tip. So when you copy, say 2, 3, 4, you only go to the first trig that you want to start the the pasting from, and then paste that, and it'll take all those and add them in. And actually, I think I might have done that wrong. No. Good, I didn't. Okay, here. Now we hear a little bit better sound from these hi-hats. Okay, definitely an improvement. Now, I'm going to do 2 more things that I think are pretty vital to a decent sounding hi-hat run, at least on the cycles. I'm going to engage the LFO. I'm going to keep it as a triangle. I'm going to go down, and I am going to affect the decay. Gotta love that. So convenient. And my idea here, again, maybe my over-obsession with trying to sound like a real drummer, I am going to try and go for slight variation of how long the decay happens for each hit. And it doesn't matter when it's hit, it's going to be set with a random. Actually, I did triangle, and I'm actually meant to go to the sample and hold, aka the random LFO. And 16 is fine because I want it to change per step. The decay, I am not going to go crazy. I'm going to do 2. Let's hear what that sounds like. I do want to do one more thing. Make sure reset is on. So now what's happening, I'm not going to mess with the other 2 parameters, but what's happening now is every single trig is going to tell the LFO to start from the beginning, but the LFO is a random LFO, and it's going to randomly apply amount of depth at 2 to the decay. And so what we've got here essentially is a completely random but repeating pattern. So it's gonna stick to obviously the 16 steps, or in this case, 16 steps. But every single time it's gonna take a slightly different approach to that decay. So let's hear. So much more life. Okay, one last thing, and this is honestly something I've known it's always existed, and I do use it very sparingly, but I'm shocking myself how little I used it, and that is the velocity modulation. So you technically have 2 sources and destinations for modulation. You only have one LFO, but you do get to use the velocity. So if we go to function, and we're going to, is it pad menu or track menu? Pad menu. Okay, so this is the pad menu. Well, technically it's the pad velocity menu. They just call it pad menu on the writing on the actual face of the synth, but they do reference it as pad and velocity in the back end menu, or the menu. And so it really is more the velocity menu. It should be called that, but you can basically adjust what these pads here, the most unplayable pads in the world, can be. So whatever, that doesn't matter to me. Like I said before, you can set it to fixed or whatever, a specific amount, but I just leave it off. It doesn't matter for me. The velocity depth. So this is how much velocity you're going to allow. Let me say that better. You have a volume parameter for your sound. The velocity setting in here currently is directly associated to that volume. So if you're a velocity 1, you're going to be all the way up here, all the way down at 1 volume. Very quiet. If you're a velocity 127, you're going to go all the way up to volume 127. To me, I love that. I think that's perfect. You can squash that down if you want, so you have less velocity to volume change. So maybe like less velocity would equal higher volume, but it wouldn't change that much between. Or you can turn it completely off and just have no velocity modulation at all. So you're just getting whatever it's dialed in as in terms of the volume is what it's going to be. So I'm going to keep it at 127. Destination. So here's where we can have a little bit of fun. I think I'm going to mess. Let's see what we get. Color was tune offset. Maybe. Modulation amount and feedback. Let's go with the shape knob. We'll start there. And now the velocity that's coming in, which you know some of these are at 100. What was it? 100. And then the others are at 36. So 136, 136. We should hear some pretty drastic changes. Oops, wrong one. To the shape. I'm going to increase the depth to 20. Go real high. Maybe the shape wasn't the one to use. Let's try something else so we can really hear it. Decay gives you a really good idea, but we're not going to do that. Sweep's kind of nice. Let's try, go back to color. We do have this kind of grungy kick, not grungy, I'd say more like harsh digitally kind of sound of kick and snare. So I'm going to stick with this. I think that sounds kind of cool. Yeah, it's got a nice little bit of life to the hi-hats. The other thing I'm going to do real quick, by holding function, obviously whatever track you want to be on, I'm going to get out of record so I don't mess those up. Select the track, hold function, and now you can shift by clicking or by turning the level data either right or left and change the panorama of that sound. Without holding function, it does the volume, which I'm actually going to turn down just a bit. Oh, my kingdom for a high-pass filter, though, because I think that would absolutely open up the hi-hats. I don't think this thing's seen an update in, gosh, 4 years? I don't think there's any updates coming, unfortunately. God, that would be so cool. But I don't think that's going to ever happen. All right. I'm going to bring them down a little more because they're kind of starting to irritate me. And I'm going to bring the pan to the center just a hair bit more. Okay. Now, let's go to our percussion. And perk, as the machine is called. So with these ones, just to go over the 4 quick parameters here, color is God, this is hard to say. Inharmonicity amount. And then the next is modulation amount, pitch sweep, modulation, envelope depth. Honestly, I don't think that's much different. It's almost like it's a combination of... No, it's like the same as the snare. Except you don't get a time on the pitch for the sweep knob. Just get pitch sweep, where on the snare you get pitch sweep, depth, and time. Feedback, okay, you don't get a modulation amount and feedback, just modulation amount. So it's just less control than the snare. All right, let's see what we get. Yep, okay. All right, let's see what we get here by changing the inharmonicity. Basically bell. It's kind of like, I guess it's some sort of awful sounding cowbell. It is a cowbell. Of course it's a cowbell. Why did I not realize that? Ooh. I kind of like that. Modulation amount. Sounds like an underwater cowbell or some sort of pot. Let's go back. Shape was modulation amount, so ooh. I like that. Went pretty high with that. Pitch sweep. Probably not going to want too much of this. Let's hear. Wow, it really kind of goes away at the high end and the low end. It's starting to get bird sounding. I liked it at the very top. Modulation envelope depth. Interesting. Almost like a reverse here because 0 can hear tons of modulation. Yeah, okay. That's interesting. Okay. Well, with this one's going to be interesting because I think what I'm going to try and do is play it chromatically. It kind of sounds like tablas. All right, let's hear what we get. I don't know what to do with those. That's kind of tough. To be completely honest with you, I almost never use the perk machine because this can have any machine on any track, which tends to mean for me is I use these first 3 to create my drums. I usually squash them down to about 2, and I'll talk about that if we have time with the sound locks. I actually have a tips video I put out a while ago, and I highly recommend watching that if you want some more advanced tips for the motorcycles. That being one of them, the ability to use sound locks to essentially merge some tracks down to 2, even 1 if you're really aggressive, and then freeing up the rest. So what I usually do is I end up using 2 for at least my drums, often 3, but that's everything. Snares, maybe some toms, obviously, hi-hats and crashes and kick, all of that I can usually condense down to 3. Then I usually use 2 tone machines, one for kind of a lead, one for bass, and then I have the chord machine. That's usually my MO on this guy. But we're going to try and use this somehow because I'm determined. Maybe something like that. Oops. Really bad timing on that, so let's fix that by going to the quantize, holding function, and hitting this little punch mitt there. Now we're in the quantize, and the first thing I'm going to do is go not to global. I usually don't mess with global. I like to go right directly to the track. Just go ahead and crank it. Cool. I might fix that. I kind of like it. Missing that first one here. Oh, that doesn't sound too bad either. Okay, so here's one of my favorite things, and please, Elektron, please put this on all your machines. It is such a wonderful feature, and it definitely needs to be there because I can't tell you how many times I reach for it in the other Elektron boxes to say, that's right, it doesn't exist. You can apply the quantization permanently. And that sounds like you're like, okay, well, who cares? But I'll show you why that's important. So if I go one more over, oops, nope, sorry, in function. Oh, no, I go back. There we go. I got to click this to get back into the using this to select. You can see I have apply, right? So if I apply it, apply quantization of tracks, clicking again, yes. And you're like, okay, big deal. So what? But now I can still move things around on the sequencer. And so here's a good example. Say, for example, I wanted to add another note at, this is at 16 resolution right now, 16th note. Maybe I wanted to add a note at the 30 seconds, so like halfway, right next to this previous one, basically in between the bounds of the 2 steps. Now, you can do that with what they call the, what do they call that? Nudge on here, but they have another name for it elsewhere, but we call it nudge on the cycles. If I have quantization set to 127 and I nudge that over, it's going to bring it right back to 16. And you don't get it. It's just like you're locked into that pattern. So if you use quantize on, say, a syntact or the digitact, and because you played it poorly, you don't have to go through and hold each step and put it directly right on, where it needs to be, which is the workaround. You use quantization for a nice, quick, and easy fix, but then you go and apply something later, another trig that you don't want to be quantized to the track. Well, boo-hoo for you. Now, if you apply it, the quantization is set. All of these trigs now are directly online, and the overriding quantization setting zeroes out, and you no longer are using quantization. It's done. You've committed to what this is, and it's done. And I love that because now I can add more stuff and be more flexible with the sequencer instead of locking it in. So honestly, it's probably my number one. Yeah, it's definitely my number one parameter that I cannot believe that every Elektron box doesn't have. Even the old ones, but especially the new ones. Come on. The Syntac came out after this. The Digitone 2 came out after this. Did the Digitone? No, the Digitone 1 came out before. Tonewerk, I mean, come on. That one, I need to write them about that again. I've definitely said it before. Okay, well, let's bring this over a little bit to the left, kind of balance out those hi-hats. Maybe not too much, because it's definitely a little center. Let's try try some of this contour to see if we can. Yeah, that kind of mellows it out a little bit. So we haven't even had any reverb or delay yet, so we'll get there. But I'm going to next bring over to the tone machine. Tone machine is the four special, what am I trying to say? The four unique parameters to this machine are color, modulator ratio, shape, modulation amount. The sweep is the feedback amount, and the contour is modulation envelope depth. So this is basically a basic FM machine with no kind of weirdness or anything like that. Just very minimal control. And so the first thing we'll mess with, of course, is the modulator ratio. This is what's going to basically change the fundamental pitch and kind of overall tone. Here, we'll just listen to it. So. So you can still hear there's that fundamental note. That's always going to be whatever you have set for the pitch. But you then change the second modulator, or second operator, to get you that nice FM sound. So you can also get a little funky too, which I really like, by getting just slight. This is really cool. So most of these are like semi, even-ish sounds. I mean, they're still grungy. You can do this one where it's right on the button plus 1,000th. So here's completely flat, pretty clean, a little honky. Add that 0.1 in there. A little fuzzier. It's a little more apparent, I think, when you get higher. So let's go to 2,000. Yeah, you go a little different too. So 2,000, 2002. Very subtle on that too, actually. But you start adding a little bit more. So this is 2/100ths. It was a 0.02. You get a nice little kind of phasey kind of sound. So I'm going to actually go to the track menu here. It's kind of hard to see, but track menu is one of these options. The other one is Control All. We'll talk about that. That's pretty fun. Going to click through and bring the keyboard down. What I'm doing now is now shifting the center note of this keyboard, so we're going down an octave. I'm going to go all the way down to about where I wouldn't expect to really play a bass sound. Kind of too low. Maybe not though. Okay, that's not too bad. We'll do something like that. Of course. And I'll just go ahead and apply it. The other benefit of that too is that now I have it quantized, it's set, and I can go back and add the swing and kind of add the push and pull that I want just the way I want it, instead of having that quantize override me every time. So maybe I'll do a little, I'm going to do a little slow on these secondary hits. So bum, bum. So these two here, I'm going to go ahead and adjust the length little bits. And then, how do I do that again? Oh, nudge. Hold this and go nudge and just do one tick late. Let's go to 101 192nd. I feel like it's given just a nice little bit of swing. You can also add swing to it. Change this note here. actually going to copy this and bring it over here and change it a little bit. And we'll take that hit out. Okay. Now let's really dive into the sound. So we did go over the different tones options here. So let's see. We're good with the color, which was the modulator ratio. Let's try the shape. That's nice. Kind of mutes it a little bit. Get more of that square in there. Feedback amount. Let's crank it. Ooh, yeah, nice dusty. A little bit whacked out at the bottom end now. Too much phase going on there. That's not bad. Now the contour should do what the contour does, which is change out. It's not really the decay, it's more like, it's like if an attack and release modulator was on here. So here's the other thing I want to talk about. This guy here effectively gives you a sustain stage. So if you see, it's kind of what it's implying here. You have your attack that's like this, and you have your sustain with the two arrows, and then you have that little decay thing indicating that's the decay stage. This is just the sustain stage. So now that it's there, as long as the note is held, you can hear it plays longer. So if I kept this on, but I wanted to shorten the sound, I'd actually have to go back to each one of these and affect the length, which I'm going to do. I'm going to affect the length of both these. I'm going to change this one down to how about real short? Yeah, I'm going to change these ones real short too, down to under 1. Change these down to about 1.5. I'll have to do it on this side too. Oh, they're already that low. Keep them there. Okay. Down 0.6. Real short of this one. Increase this contour a little bit. No, I don't want to do that. Just going to bring the volume down a little bit. Chat is not set up. Hopefully no one's reached out and I've not chatted with you all. Let me see. No, okay. That's good. Alright. Now that's set up. Cool. Alright, well, you know, we're getting there. I mean, something's going on here. For me, writing is a type of thing where, like, it's, throwing things against the wall and see what sticks, I guess, kind of concept. Like I really just kind of put stuff out there and then I eventually kind of carve away things. So whenever I start a song, it's not going to usually sound much like where it ends up. And it definitely, I'll take some chances and make it sound kind of cheesy or raw or something like that. And it's interesting because I don't usually do this in front of people. So it's been an interesting thing to try and show how I work because I can't imagine it's overly interesting. Like I'm doing it right now a little bit more concise and a little bit more focused so that it's not as dull as it might be. But I might listen to this loop for like 5 minutes, just listen to it and just play it in my head and listen and then come back and adjust, which, yeah, I'm sure I drive former roommates and my wife and anybody who has to hear that over and over a little crazy. But anyway, all right. Okay. So we got a little pattern going here. We got a little bit of melodic thing going on, which was so it's got to be in C. Okay, the chord machine. By far the most complex and challenging machine on this synth. Not that it's challenging to get a good overall sound, but when you come to writing chords and progressions, this is a bit of trying to think of a polite way of saying, it messes with your mind a little bit. For me, I come from a background of studying music theory, so I've got some of that, in the back of my head. I usually only grab it out when I need to. I prefer to do things by ear and kind of feel and all that kind of stuff. But I know the fundamentals, like I use those immediately. But I'm talking about, was that, properly, in the key, or did that suspension sound off because maybe I should have used them? Whatever, it doesn't matter. But the point being is that this, even despite having that fundamental knowledge, I still struggle I struggle when I say I want a particular thing to happen. Where I don't struggle and where I really, really fell in love with the modal cycles is I give into it. I just basically play stuff until it sounds good, and I find that to be much more rewarding. So we're going to try starting off that way. Let's go over the parameters. So the color knob is going to be the chord interval mix and oscillator balance, as well as it offers unison and detune. We'll talk about how that works. Or so I should say unison detune, not the unison setting, but like the detune once you select unison. Because you effectively can have 4 individual played notes. So, for example, say you're saying the major dominant 7 C major, so C, E, G, B flat. You could have all those in that, or you can take all those 4 voices and condense them down to one and do 4 voice unison, or like a monophonic unison. So you do get some pretty cool options there. But the interval is heavy music theory. Not heavy, but it's definitely more than you're going to find in your average person who dabbles in music. Intervals, basically, if you look at a chord, say you're looking at a piano and you start at the key C, the note C, we're going to do a dominant 7 again. We'll do a major 7 first, so just 3 notes. You're going to play C, you're going to skip a white key, you're going to go to E, you're going to skip another white key, and you're going to go to G. C, E, G. That's your 3 notes that make a chord, your first, your third, and your fifth. If you shift those around so that the C is not the first note you play, you are messing with what's called inversions. If you say shift the second note, which was the E in this 3-part note chord, if you shift that down below the C, you've effectively created a first inversion chord because you took the second note and moved it underneath, and that would be the first change, the first inversion. Of course, when you do that with the G being the 3rd note and you bring that down, that's now a second inversion because it's kind of weird, but the 3rd note in the chord is now below. You wouldn't call the first thing an inversion because it's just the chord. So you move the 2nd note down, first inversion. Move the 3rd note down, it's the second inversion. It's a little confusing, but the only reason I'm even talking about that is because that's how this functions. So you can see right here we have root position, and that effectively means it is just a regular chord. But as you increase this, it does some stuff as it interpolates between these, but then boom, around 62, 3, you get first inversion. So let me go back so we can actually hear it. So that's a C minor. I'm going to do major just because I think it'll be a little easier to hear. We'll go over this chord selector here in a second. Major, C major. So now we're going to shift. I'm just going to go to it before we do the interpolation and hear what that sounds like. I'm going to shift all the way, and now the E, the 2nd note of our 3-note chord, is now below. Oh, and it got real. I'm going to have to go up. So I apologize. Let's go back here again. I just got too low. C major. First inversion. And then now we're going to do the 2nd inversion. Did I already go past it? Yep, right there. Happens quicker. And what it's done now is the C and the E are up high and the G is in the bottom. It's, and that doesn't even really sound, to me right there, like that doesn't quite sound like the G hit the bottom, but that's what it's supposed to be doing. Now if we go between them, so let's start back at the root. It's really shifting them around. It'd be nice to see a visual representation. The Syntac has the same machine, and it actually does a much better job of showing you what is happening. It's a little silly. It almost looks like little ghosts from Pac-Man. But they indicate by showing whether they are like dead looking, and then there's white, and there's like see-through, which is effectively black. And they all represent a different way of basically like, okay, if it's black, it's an octave down. This is me just, guessing because it's not in front of me. If it's white, it's an octave up, that kind of stuff. So it gives you some indication. This does not. This is completely by ear. Again, another reason why I'm just like, I don't care. I just want to hear what it sounds like. So this being a C major, let's go over to this knob here, the shape knob. I'm going to crank it all the way to the left. And you can see it changed from a chord to unison 2. So we just have 2 notes. If I come over to this color and crank it all the way down, now we have no detune. Nice and clear. Similar sounding to the tone, but the tone machine, but it's actually a little bit different. Almost a little bit cleaner. So let's go ahead and add some detune. Gonna thicken it up a little bit. Let's go real wacky. Some very suspenseful. It almost, that almost is like a second, like a 1 and a 2. Yeah. All right, let's go back all the way down. We're gonna do unison 3, just bigger and thicker, and then of course unison 4, even bigger. Honestly, if I'm gonna do unison over here, I'm gonna probably use unison 4 because I want that big washy sound. Well, let's go back to this root position, which is not going to tell me. Oh, it does. Okay. And let's go back to the shape so we can go through these chords real quick because there's a ton, and most of them I personally would never use. So here's your minor, major, and you got a suspended 2 and a 4, which are very nice. Get over there. Nice little way to like add some slight tension and then release it to that major. Minor 7, minor major 7, so that's a minor chord with a major 7 as the 7th, the 4th note. I'm just gonna cruise through these. Okay, I definitely do use the major add 9, so that's effectively having the second note, but an octave higher than your chord. Here's some wacky ones. Here we go. What I got? Major 9. Oh, where'd you go? Major 9 with a NO5. I'm not sure what NO stands for, but that sounds a bit like, oh, it actually shows me. It's kind of like suspended a little bit, but more. Ooh, major 7, flat 5. Very nice jazz chord. Not something I'll probably reach for in this guy. Ooh, look at this. A major 7, major dominant 7, flat 9, NO5. What is that? I'm trying to think what NO5 stands for. Ooh. Major add sharp 5. I mean, they're there. You can use them. You get all the way to the top, you start getting some stuff that I would consider a little bit more usable. You get back to fourths. And then you should have a 5th. Yep. And that should be it. So 5th's kind of nice. But we're going to go all the way back down to minor 7. That's kind of... low, it was hard to hear if that was really in the right pitch. There we go. It wasn't. Is it still not? I'm coming through because it technically would have played in the end of that last bar because it was before the first on this. So now it should be good. I think I was actually playing it the other way, wasn't I? Let's see. If I hold down track, this is a nice little feature too. If I hold down track and I turn the knob, I can actually shift or rotate the trigs. Nope, that was not the case. So I must have just been hearing that wrong. Oh, I think I changed that note. That's why I messed that up. Nope, must have been E. Oh, wait, nope. E, D, sure. Something seems amiss, but it's working for now. Okay, what do we have here? Something okay. Let's go over here and fix this, because I can already hear. Wait. Oops. This is off because it's not playing the very first time I start. God, is it? Sounds like the bass is still off, but I can't quite. Well, let's try bringing that down to D sharp again. Why does that sound so weird? C5, keyboard 25 down. Okay, so that's what's throwing me off. It is up. Okay. So I'm not sure. I'm just going to have to play it. Let's just play it. Okay. Man, why does it still sound off? What I don't have on here, which I wish I did, is what they call the track preview or trig preview, I'm sorry. That would be very convenient, but it's not there. So I'm going to go down back to D. Oh, that's too low. So we'll go back to E. Seems like it's working. Gets in that low frequency. It can clash. It's sometimes kind of hard to sound. Hard to hear. Okay. Let's actually add a little bit of reverb. So I'm going to start with the snare, and I'm going to put just a tiny bit in there. So see what it sounds like. Something I often do too is I come over here and hold function to get to the secondary setting of the reverb, which is the reverb tone. And I go to about 20 or so because that seems to take out, in fact, we could probably tell. Parameter, swing, chance, gauge. Well, oh, here we go. Delay, reverb. By dampening either the low frequencies or the high frequencies. Yeah, so this basically squeezes out or just removes the low end frequencies. So if I say wanted to add a little bit of reverb to the kick, I can do so without getting all that boomy mud at the bottom. So I'm going to actually go ahead and do that. Just a little bit. Kind of adds a little breath of air on the top of that. I really like that. See what the snare sounds like. It's not too much. I'm going to go ahead and change the pitch of this a little bit. By holding function, I'm going more of a coarse tune, and if I don't hold function, it's fine. Fine tune. Right there. Cool. Okay, hi-hats. I'm always a little hesitant about adding a little bit of reverb to them, but maybe just a hair. Let's see what it sounds like a lot. Doesn't sound bad. You can add a shimmer, and honestly, these headphones don't do a good enough job really detailing that shimmer, because I've definitely gone to like master a song that I've put up on YouTube, and like, oh my god, it was like somebody was shaking a wash tub in the background the whole time. Well, a little bit less than what I think because of that reason. Okay. All right. Let's see. We got this little percussion thing here. I'm actually. Oh, you know, I'm gonna go back and put a little bit of delay on the hi-hats. Let's see what that sounds like first. They usually have a good setting for it, so delay time. 24, that's representing sort of like a 1/8, dotted 1/8, I think. And I'm going to increase the feedback just a hair. Similar to the reverb tone, the delay feedback function, delay time. That's how you get to that delay feedback sub-menu there, sub-parameter. Okay. I'll do a little delay on this. Cool. Kind of gives it like a little extra trot. Maybe a little bit on the snare. I think we gotta open that snare up a little bit more too. There we go. I like using the combination of decay and the contour within reason. It kind of lets that snare pop a little bit more, but doesn't give it that long decay that can be a little too much for a nice little snappy thing going on here. Alright, let's take some of that out because that's starting to drive me crazy. A little reverb on this tabla thing we got going on. Okay. Too much. I'm going to actually see if I can affect the reverb tone. Clean that up. Yeah. Better. I'm going to bring the reverb down a bit though. I'm going to bring the reverb size down just a hair. Cool. Maybe a little delay. Too much. Maybe just a little bit. Cool. Oop, went into the wrong one. Track. There we go. God, I wish we had a nice filter for that because it would make the world of difference, but we don't. Maybe a little bit of reverb on this guy. It seems like I have a lot already. Try a lot. Cleaned off a lot of the low end from the reverb sound. I kind of like that. Okay, let's bring these chords in. Okay, so we haven't really messed with the chords. I kind of skipped ahead. Let's go to the chord machine and let's really dive into this thing now. I'm not hating the chords, but I don't like the sound. And so here's a big step. The sweep parameter. I think we already talked about this. Let me just go back and define it here. The wave. Oh, I think I got halfway through and stopped. Okay, we know the color was a chord interval mix. Yeah, I got totally sidetracked. Sorry about that. Shape was going to do the unison and the chord actual selection, so major, minor, and then a unison 1, 2, 3, and 4. In unison mode, color affects the detune amount, and when not in in unison, it does the chord interval, which we were talking about, kind of moving the notes around in the chord. Then we have the sweep and the contour. Sweep is the wavetable sweep. So this is a really nice invention here. I'm assuming these are PCMs. I can't imagine. Well, I should look that up because I don't know. I guess they could be FM, very curated sounds, but I'm not sure. It does call them wavetable, so I'm going to assume that they're waves, PCMs, whatever you want to call them. And then the contour is a filter cutoff envelope, which is great. Envelope depth, sorry. I mean, it's very subtle. It's not giving me much, so let's just back it off all the way. So here is our waves, and I'm going to go through from 0 to 127. We were up in the 40s, I think, a second ago. Ooh, already liking that one. Now it interpolates between those waves, which is what's wonderful about good wavetable synthesis. Ooh, too bright. Nice little kind of brassy character. Very good mix between the highs and lows. Very low mids in that sound. Could be nice for a drone or something, but a little weak for a chord for me. Oh, it's a little washy. I like that. Not for this though. A little buzzy. Not what I'm looking for. Too bright. Nice and open, clear. Did I get bumped again? Oh man, I'm having some issues here. It looks like my chat got disconnected again. I must just have some internet issues going on today. Oh well. Ooh, I went to the wrong knob. Wasn't paying attention. Back to minor. Where are you, minor? I went pretty far, didn't I? Come here. Come on. I think that's what I had was minor. Yeah. Ooh. Yeah, honestly, I think I liked. Yeah. So, this is a modulatable, a parameter that can be modulated. And so if we come over to the LFO, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to actually go with the sine wave this time. I'm going to do it nice and slow. We're going to go to about a multiplier of 2. We're going to set the destination to that wavetable parameter. Now the depth, I had it at 4, selection-wise, 4 parameter amount, or whatever you want to call it. The sweep parameter was set to 4 out of 0 to 127. And I wanted to kind of dip down to 1 and then back up to, say, about 7. So if you can think, if the 4 is in the middle, I need to decrease by 3 and then back to the 4 and then go up by 3. That's going to give me a nice little kind of sweep in there. So I'm going to go ahead and do a depth of 3. Let's see what we get. I think I'm going to decrease that to about 2. Yes. And I'm going to bring this multiplier down to 1. Now, if you're like me, I love slow and LFOs and envelopes for that matter, but I really get frustrated with an LFO that's just fundamentally too fast, meaning the lowest setting is still too fast. I'm looking at you, OPXY. The amount parameter on that's a joke. Like, you get like 1 tick out of like a pretty large amount, 1 tick, and it's already moving pretty quick. You're like, well, where the hell we're going with this? Like, up to a point of which it's 2, just completely audible. Anyway, we get 1 more parameter to help affect that, and that is the LFO speed parameter. So now I can turn this down. So I have a multiplier of 1, and I have a setting of 10 out of 127. Or I should say, let's see, Yeah, it's bipolar, so 63 positive and 63 negative. So what would that be? 63 plus 10. So this would be about 73 if you were considering 0 to 128, 127. Very slow. Too slow, some might say. Let's go to 20. Still too slow. Let's go to 30. There we go. Okay, now we're going to do some of the intervals here, the inversions. Ooh, too much. There we go, something nice. I don't mind that at all. Let's go and do some quantization on this because it sounds like some of my hits might be a little bit off. I'm going to go ahead and apply it. Okay. I'll bring this out of the way by bringing it maybe over to the left a little bit. Allow me to turn it down a little bit and not get so lost in the middle. Cool. Put a little reverb on that guy. A little bit of delay too. It's almost getting a little too dark. I think I have to go back to the LFO and turn the... No, we're actually going to go to the sweep knob. Increase a little bit. Increase the volume overall. And go back to this bass and very much bring it way down in terms of the overall kind of brightness of that fuzz. Might actually nice sub bass. Which means I'm going to go back and double this sound. Oops, I'm getting back lost in the wrong workflow. Hold it down, hit copy. We're going to have it again. Right there. Paste it. Okay, so we're looking at ourselves right now. Okay, we've used all of our tracks. We have something going. It's not enough for me. I personally feel like we need at least something to do a lead over, maybe another percussion sound. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leverage what I talked about earlier, which was trying to sound like a real drummer. When you're a real drummer, you tend to usually only have 4 appendages, sometimes less. Usually not more, as far as I know. So you are stuck with hitting essentially 4 drums, 4 instruments, whatever, snare, kick, whatever, at the same time. So yes, you can hit all 4 at the same time. A good example of where you might have a gap is, for example, like I said earlier, where you're doing the hi-hats. Chicka chicka cha. You're going to come over, chicka chicka cha, right? So you're taking your hand away from the hi-hat sound, so you effectively aren't playing the hi-hat while you're playing the snare. And even though you could, if you're a really good drummer and it's something you want to do, you could, chugga chugga cha, you could go and do something like that, which is possible. But just in the normal hearing of music, normal listening to music, you're hearing someone drive the hi-hats, they're gonna do that, and you're not really gonna notice because that snare fills the gap that's left by the hat, the missing hat, and it also lets the snare open up, and you can really hear it. Kind of makes a real thwack, and so it's a totally natural thing, and it doesn't require to use every step of your sequencer. So, like I had mentioned before, we did that by taking away the step where the snare was. So there's two 2 bars going on of each, and we have these guys. So what I'm going to do real quick, nice and dirty, is one of my favorite tricks on this, and that is creating presets, aka sound locks, or just sounds. You get 64 steps. So that is really wow. Did I drop again? Oh man. All right, something's going on with my internet. I'll have to look into that. Well, thank you for everybody hanging out, because my concurrent view is just not dropped, it's actually increased. So thank you. I apologize. I'll look into this later. So point being though is that when you use sound locks, you can take one track and add a ton more sounds to it. You can't play them at the same time, but like I just showed here, we have a gap where my snare could go or my hats could go that won't interfere with the other instrument. So just to make it easy on myself, I'm going to go ahead and do the snare. So I'm going to do track snare. I'm going to come over here, and first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and save this pattern temporarily, just in case something happens. I'm going to hit this little machine guy here. No, I apologize. I'm going to hit preset menu by holding function and hitting this kind of snare drum looking thing here. Boom. If I hit that, now I can scroll over to a file folder I've already created. Where is this? YT1. So I created a folder. This is basically where I'm going to save my presets. I'm going to click to go into that folder. Now I can actually see all my presets that I've made. And this is where I would actually assign them, but I'm not going to do that yet. I want to save this snare. So I'm going to go see what it says FN menu. If I hold this down, I'll just click it once, sorry. I'm going to save this preset. Again, got to make sure you're on the right track. Save preset. It's giving me the option to name it. We're going to call it SN. Oh, wrong way. I'll actually do a. I can actually click to go between lowercase and uppercase. I should have remembered that. So let's go there. So we have SN as the big snare, and then I'm going to call this YT2 technically, because that other one was from the video I made with the 6 tips. Let's go and go to T, click it for the capital, and then we're going to go YT2. Okay, snare YT2. Okay, now I'm going to click again. This is going to say save preset. I'm going to hit yes to click again. I can go back and edit it more, or I can abort this. I'm going to go yes. Boom. Now we have a preset saved in the YT1 folder, and it is in there in case I erase this track, which I'm going to do right now. Going to go ahead and hold track and clear. So now if you hear it, it should sound like it did before when we first started. Let's get rid of the other. Did I clear the track too? Oh no, there we go. So this is now back to the default setting, default sound. I'm going to go over to this guy. I'm going to go to the missing patterns. Interesting, I only did one. Okay, that's fine. I'm going to hold this one down. So actually, before I do that, I'm going to go back into the preset menu. Boom. I'm going to go locate that sound I made. It was SNYT2. I'm going to hold this guy down. Actually, I'm going to push it first to get the trig to show up. Now I'm going to hold it. With this selected here, I'm going to click on this, and it will tell you by lighting up this little, I don't know what that is, a little snare guy there. That's how you select the different machines, by the way. So I guess that's the machine icon. By doing that and that lighting up like that, it's telling you now that you've assigned it to that particular sample. So now we're going to hear, this is going to play hi-hats. I'm going to focus just this track. And then when you get to the 9, it's going to play that snare. All on one track. Man, that is huge for me. When I realized I could do something like that, it opened up so much. So now we have a full track with any machine we want to put on it, wide open and ready for us to play with. And I'm going to go ahead and add, I'm going to do the chord machine. I hit the machine button here, made sure I was track 2. I'm going to go to chord machine. I'm going to click in it. Then I'm going to go to the shape, and I'm going to go to unison 4. And to start off, I'm going to bring the D-tune all the way down. So now I have a new lead sound. I'm going to crank it up to 2 octaves up. that's really loud. Apologize about that. Let me turn the volume down. It's currently muted. And bring that down. It's too high, so let's go ahead and bring that back down 8 steps. Start messing with this a little bit. Let's go ahead and add some of that detune. A bit of reverb. Whoops, wrong button. A bit of delay maybe. And now we get to mess with the sweep to get all those different waves. You can really dial in a nice lead this way. Cool. Now, I'm going to go and, let's go ahead and record something with that, just to get it down. Oh, I think I need to go. I feel like I need a note that's a little lower there. There we go. To the nudge, maybe just a hair quicker on that, and a hair quicker on that. I'm shifting it a little bit faster, a little bit early. Maybe that one too, a little bit earlier. Just a 192 second. Yeah, there we go. Got a nice little groove to it. Okay, now we're going to apply swing across the entire track. Do that is using something called the control all parameter, and this is one of my most favorite things to use when doing performing and just trying to whack out the whole track. But for here, we're just going to use it because it's just easier versus setting each track individually. By holding this track button down, any of these knobs we now control will affect all. Here, I'm going to go ahead and show you. Pattern saved. So watch, if I go ahead and affect the pitch on every track. digress for a second and show you how I like to have fun with these things. So. Like that. Such a fun little, such a fun feature. Okay, even though I know it's saved, I'm going to save it again. It's a good habit to do. What was I going to do? Oh, yes, I was going to increase the swing. Let's do it just a 54%. It's a little looser. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and save it again, and this time I'm going to function copy by holding down the pattern. I'm going to copy the pattern, and, oop, did I do that wrong? There, sorry, I was holding the wrong button. So pattern, hold the pattern. So pattern button, and then the actual pattern you want to copy. Copy, come over here, pattern, hold down the new place you want to send it, hit the paste button. Did it paste? Oh, you got to hold it down. It's been too long since I've used this one. They've gotten away with the hold down paste on the new Elektron machines. It just happens instantly. So, all right. So let's go ahead and make sure pattern 2 sounds just like pattern 1 before we get going. Of course. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to start getting a little funky with this. I'm going to start with the snare. Oh, I don't have a lot of room to do it. So here's where things get really tricky. What I'm going to do is, I mentioned before, I've locked my snare sound through a sound lock onto this track that has the hi-hats. What I want to do now is I want to add more snares into this, but I don't necessarily want to give up on the hi-hats so much. And what I mean by that is I might want to smack the snare once in a while, but I want that to happen every time. So I'm going to use a trig condition to do that. But then every time that snare doesn't happen, there will be a gap left because the snare is not playing. And I can fill that using something called retrigs. The retrigs are going to use for other things too, but this is one of my favorite ways to use those. So for example, let's, let me see here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and zero out these 3. I do have a copy of the other pattern, of this pattern saved elsewhere, so I don't mind messing with this as much. I definitely recommend when you start really experimenting to either at the very least temporarily save that pattern or fully save it. But you know, for me, the other way to do it is go ahead and just have that pattern separately. Sometimes I'll even sync that main pattern down to 16, so it's just kind of tucked away, and then start back over here and start getting real aggressive with changing and stuff, because I always know I can go back and reference or even just bring back the old pattern. So with that said, I got rid of these 3. Let's just hear what it sounds like. Nothing. So if I take this sound lock, which I definitely want to copy paste this because I don't want to go through that whole process of resetting it. I know I want it to happen on the 9 and the 13 for the full sound. Like that. So I'm going to come here for these 2, and I'm going to do something fun too, and I'm actually going to add a retrig just for the snare. So I'm going to do a paste again, so I make sure I have that snare. I should have snare 3 times now. Yep. And now this is where I really like the Elektron sequencer, and I wish everybody did it this way. A lot of people mimic it, which is great, but I feel the MPC doesn't have it quite right yet. The OPXY definitely doesn't have it right, and I'm like, come on guys, that's a big one for me. The velocity ratchet, like you need to be able, I don't want just, I want, you know, like you would hear on a real drum set. Somebody would flam or, you know, quickly play 30-second notes, but they're not just going to play it perfectly like a machine. They're going to rise it up to make it nice and, I don't know, enjoyable. So what I'm going to do here, I was going to go and click on this. I'm going to parameter lock the velocity all the way down to, let's say, 15. Now I'm going to hold it again. I'm going to hit the retrig button. Hit the retrig button again to turn it on. You can also just click this encoder if you prefer. Now we're going to do a rate of, I'm going to do 30 seconds because I want it to be double timed against the sequencer. Length, we are currently at quarter, which means it's going to be 4 16th notes. 4 over 16, 1/4. But I want to only do for 2. So I'm going to go to length. I'm going to do 1/8. Kind of give you a hint too by showing like it's 2 something, and then you get right there to 1/8, which is exactly 2 steps. And lastly, click this again so I can go back out and click down, and then go to the fade, and I'm going to increase it say, let's see, 15. I want that to happen. It's going to happen 4 times over that. So if we did 15 to all the way up, it'll get a 75. I'm going to go 20. So this should start at 15, our ratchet, and it should end at 80 plus, so 95. And what I'm referring to is the parameter level of the velocity. Just picked up an MCU. Sorry, I didn't see this right away. Cool. Oh, yeah. I love this little guy. And I will probably make music with it till I'm dead. Because I love it. And yes, the control all is a fantastic parameter for performance. And I think... No, it came out in the Digis first, I think. I think the Digitact and the Digitone had it first, and then they brought this guy out. I'm pretty sure, but regardless, it's such a cool feature. They really... Oh, which one is it? The Digitone 2. Oh, my God. They nailed it. So they offer you the same ability with Control All, but now you can select which tracks get affected by it. So you can basically decide where the track... And it's when they did that, it's hard to go back to the Digitone 1, which I still have and I love, but like the Digitone 2, I think the Digitact 2 has it as well. I hope the Syntac gets it. Supposedly going to be an update tomorrow. What's the rumor? But that is killer. That is killer. Anyway, okay. So I have added this. Let's hear what it sounds like. I got a nice little roll there. Okay, but now as you see, I don't want that to happen every time. I learned a ton just in the past. Oh, thanks. I could add the volume for the retrofit notes. Good to know I can. Yes, I'm glad to learn stuff, man. I also have a video out there called the 6 tips, or like my 6 tips, or whole cycles, something like that. 6 tips. It's on my channel. I promise you, it has what you would have seen here so far, but like some really good in-depth explanations of a few other tips that I highly recommend. But anyways, back to this guy here. You can hear that that's happening every time. Now, for me, when it comes to like some sort of like ratchet or something like that, I like it, but if it's going to happen every time, it's going to become repetitive and kind of annoying. It kind of loses the pizzazz of that, ooh, did you hear that little ratchet? And then maybe it doesn't come back again, or at least for a while. So point being, I don't want it to happen every time. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do a trig condition first, so that way it doesn't happen every time. And by holding the knob down and clicking on the chance, you can go through a bunch of selections. So real quick, you got fill, which you have to hold down the page button, which is great. You can latch it to, which is really awesome. But it basically lets you only have these trigs occur when you're engaging the fill parameter. Not fill, meaning when when you do use the fill button, it doesn't play this. So it plays every time until you engage the fill. And they're all going to be like this. They're going to be like, you selected this, that's when it plays, or then you do the line over the top and it's saying it's the exact opposite of that selection. So pre has to do with referencing an earlier trig that is using a trig condition. There are no other trig conditions on here, so this is ineffective right now, but it's very nice. So for example, if you have a trig that happens once in a while, but you want something else down the road not to happen only when that one does happen, you can use it that way. So, and neighbor is a cool thing too as well. It actually references, it does that same exact thing, but it references a different track, the one preceding it. So for example, this is track 3. If I had a trig condition on track 2, this trig on track 3 would look to that trig condition on track 2 and then, perform accordingly. And then the last one should be first. Yep, so this just happens in the first time that you actually start the pattern. I almost always going to reach for that particular trig condition when I'm doing a crash symbol. So if I, again, don't want a crash symbol to happen every time the pattern repeats. So if you just have it that first time, starts the pattern, you can jam all night long on it, and that crash only happened that first time. And this is what I'm looking for. If you go a little farther, you start getting to percentages. And percentages are nice. This is going to basically look at that trig every time it passes by in the sequencer, and it's going to say, I will play that trig 13% of the time. So, you would expect that if I let this go through 100 times, that trig would play 13 times. I don't think it's going to be perfect like that, and who wants perfection in that way anyways? So it's just going to kind of give you that sort of like 13% of the time. And you're not going to listen to this this sequence 100 times in a row in a song, most likely. So you're never really going to use that to that degree anyways. But now you're getting the idea that there's a 13% chance that this trig will play when the sequencer crosses over it. And that's what we're going to keep it as. Because what I'm going to do is now I'm going to come over here. So let's hear it. Didn't play. Probably not going to play. There's an 87% chance that it's not going to play. Oh, one more time. Maybe one more. Oh, there it goes. All right, so there you go. So that certainly wasn't 13% in just that context, but overall it took a 13% chance to play. Okay, so we heard that, but of course that still leaves that gap there. So the snare doesn't happen every time on trig 11, but we want to hear something to fill that out when it doesn't. So if I come back here, this is a hi-hat sound, and I'm just going to make sure it's at velocity 36. So effectively what I'm going to try and do right now is I'm going to try and have this trig, which is a hi-hat, re-trig during the times that this is not playing. So 87% of the time, this trig will re-trig through. 13% of the time, the snare will come in and cut it off so it only plays that first note. And so we come here, we hold down the trig, we hit re-trig twice to engage it. I'm going to come over and start at the rate, which I want to keep at 16 because I'm just trying to emulate as if no hi-hats have been removed from the sequencer. So I'm going to keep it at 16. The length, I want 3 steps worth, so I'm actually going to go down to 3, which doesn't show up as 1/3. Good, I think that would be confusing. And this trig started at around 36, and I want the next one, it would normally be 100 and then back down to 36. So this is one of those places where you kind of have to make a little bit of a sacrifice. There is no ability for the retrig to come up and down. So I'm going to kind of split the difference. And I'm going to say 36 to 100. We're at 64 difference between there. So if I slice that in half, that's 32. Is that right? 64 and 30? Yeah. So if I add 32 to 36, sorry if my math's a little weird, I'm going to go to 66. So I want to increase it by 32. So actually I'm going to do the fade of 32. If that was all over the place, I apologize. But effectively what I'm saying now is that this trig always starts off at 36. As the fade increases, meaning as the ratchet happens, so in the second note, it's going to add 32 to that 36, making the next one 68. And then the third one is going to add 32 to 68, which will put it to 100. So what we should hear is cha-cha-cha, cha-cha-cha, like that. So let's hear what we got. Subtle. In fact, it's less. So I might be wrong the way that the retrig is setting that. I thought that was the case, but not listening to it. It's really hard to hear much of a difference. It's not coming back down to that 32, so it's probably 32 across the 3 of them, which means roughly like 10.6 added to each retrig. But the point is, yeah, sorry, my math's all over that place, and maybe I'm a little bit off on how the retrig fade is actually affecting it. But the point is that we are now playing, and you don't hear a gap. I'm going to isolate it again. So I'm going to actually take this 13 out. You're going to hear a gap there, but so we can actually fix that. So I'm going to put that 13 back in, but I'm going to do something that I was talking about before. I'm going to do a trig condition on this guy, and I'm going to set it to pre. So now it's piggybacking off of this. It's always going to go to the first trig condition it sees in front of it. So it doesn't matter if it's all the way over here. If there's no trig conditions in between, this note here will look for this one. But since we do have a trig condition on 11, 13 is referencing 11. And so I have it set as pre, which means whenever this little ratchet goes off, 13, a snare, sound lock, will also go off. So now that it's set that way, anytime that 11 doesn't go off, we'll have a gap. So I need to go back to the 10th trig where I put the re-trigger the hi-hats. Sorry if I'm going too fast. Dude, you're blowing my mind. Yeah, sorry, man. It's like, it's a lot. And I didn't necessarily intend this to be like a full-on tutorial. I really wanted to kind of make more sounds and stuff, but it's hard not to geek out on this thing because it's so cool. But to recap, these two are trig conditions that are only going to happen 13% of the time. Every other time, so 87% of the time, they're not going to play. So I need to extend this trig a little bit farther to cover the new one that I just set. So I'm going to hit that retrig button again. I'm going to go back to length. I'm going to set it to 1/4 or 4. Oop. So now, as these ones are not playing, these 3 trigs are effectively empty. This is going to fill it with that retrig. There's almost like a little bit of a change you can hear in the timbre. But no gaps. Yeah, perfect. That's what I'm looking for. All right, so now we have some action going on, some variance going on this one track that has 2 sounds, and they're walking around each other, but they're not stepping on each other because unfortunately it's monophonic. They're not going to, but there's also no gaps. So as a drummer, there you are. You're doing a fill, but everything's coming back around. You're never missing any opportunities to hit something on that 16-note grid. Actually talked about yet of chance parameters, or conditional locks, I should call them. And that is, what do they call these? You know, I can't think of the specific name, but the idea here, as you can see, you're telling it to play at some point over a certain amount of time. So this one right here, 1:4. The idea here is to say the sequencer, we're going to look at this pattern, it's going to play 4 times. On the very first time of those 4 times, it'll play these 2 trigs. Then the second time, the third time, and the 4th time it goes around, it will not. And so you can change this. You can say, actually, I'd rather, oops, I'm hitting the wrong button. Say, actually, instead of the first time, I want it to play the second time. So it's going to skip these trigs the first time through, it's going to play them the second time, and then it's going to skip them 3rd and 4th. And you can get all sorts of variations on here, all the way up to 8. So if you want something to happen, just say on the 3rd time through the sequencer, but then not happen for 5 more times, that's your guy. But we are going to go with one of my favorites, which is 2 of 3, or 3 of 3. And the idea here is we're going to do sort of like a polyrhythm, because the idea here is that we are not going to repeat this on an even 4 or 2 basis. It's going to come through, and it's going to play the second time of every 3 times. And that means, so for example, if we played 4 times, it plays the second time. But as we go to the 6th time, it's going to play on the 6th time. And then, so you can see is like, you're basically, we're on a 4 bar pattern right now, but you have something that's coming to the 3rd pattern and then resetting. So you're getting a polyrhythm. And this really opens up stuff to kind of make it sound more random, if you will, but it's controlled randomness, or at least it's not randomness, but it's implying randomness maybe to the listener, because you know they're going to be like, oh, I heard that snare happen on the 2nd beat. Well, wait, that time it happened on the 1st. Wait, this time it happened on the 3rd. They're going to think it's random, or you know, they're going to realize what you're doing, but nonetheless, it sounds way cooler. So it just gives you a lot of variance. It takes away that excuse of being like, oh, you know, this is a drum machine. It's just going to be like just repetitive. You can really design things. I've seen some pretty good work. I'm not that style. I like to build songs, but I've seen some pretty amazing work by people literally sitting on one pattern and playing a whole song, because there's so much ways, by muting tracks, by adding different trig conditions, by messing with different parameters, that you can just basically make enough change that someone will sit and listen to a 5-minute song not knowing that you literally never moved from the first pattern. So that's pretty amazing. Okay, one thing I wanted to do was fix this guy. This one I'm going to do 1 of 2. And now I created another polyrhythm, not necessarily with the main sequencer, the main sequence, but a polyrhythm against these guys, because it'll be, let's see, 1, 2, 3. It'll have to be, they'll have to equal 6. So this plays 2 of every 3. So, I'm sorry, no. Okay, God, see, I'm getting lost. So, on the 4th time through, I'm sorry, the 5th time through, the 8th time through, they will match with this guy. They will actually play together because it's going to be every other one. So these have to have an, is that right? No, 1 and 2. So 3, this is 2. All right. Okay. 2, it's going to play together the first time that this plays. The first time that these trigs right here play, this one will play. And then they won't meet up again. I'm not even going to bother with the math. I'm all over the place on that. So they're just not going to meet again for a while because it's going to be, they're going to be off each other in terms of rhythmically. Let's hear. Oh, did I do 1 of 2? I meant to do 2 of 2. Okay, here we go. Clean. Here's the trigs. Just extra 3 hits. Clean again. And now, just that one. Because the next time it comes through, there won't be any. And then play again. So, you really start building up some good complexity there. And for me personally, when I'm listening to somebody's song, especially as a composer, like I'm listening for that complexity. That's the thing that makes me get out of the idea of like, okay, he's just repeating that drum line over and over. I start to like shut down my brain for enjoying that part. I'm just kind of like, I'm going to listen to the vocals because the drums are just doing the same thing over and over. If you get some very focused listeners who really like what you're doing and they want to hear something that kind of tickles them just a little bit, that's the kind of stuff for me. If you write music like that, I'll probably listen to it and enjoy it. Okay, so the last thing I want to do... Nope, go back to this guy. Nope. Where was it? Oh, 2. Okay. And this, I'm going to go back again with trig conditions. I'm going to start adding some kind of fun little flourishes in here. So let's retrig that. I'm just going to fly through this because we're at 10 o'clock and I got to wrap it up here. So I'm going to go ahead and just try to have a little fun here and see what I can make really quick. 2, increase the fade. So basically I'm doing another ratchet. I'm having the ratchet increase pretty sharply of 30 steps here. By holding this down again, I am going to reduce the velocity of the initial hit. So that way there's room for that ratchet to increase. So here we go. And then I'm going to take the chance parameter. I'm going to call that 2, 2, so it doesn't happen the first time. And when it comes back around, you will hear that. Okay, ding. Now let's try right here. I'm going to go ahead and copy this real quick, but then I'm going to increase it by, yeah, let's try there. That was a minor third, I think. Let's see. I'm going to do the pre. Although I actually could just do the 2, 2. I'll just do that because it's kind of easier to keep track of. So they're going to play together, but only because they're both set to the exact same trig condition. 1 skip. Let's try this. Go up to A sharp. Now what I probably should do is turn these trig conditions off so I can just hear this instead of having to listen to it. Ooh. Should have kept that at, let's try G sharp. I'm going to turn the trig conditions off temporarily, clearing them out. That way I don't have to listen to the whole sequence every time, go through at least once before I hear those actual trigs. need to change this. Let's see. Nope. Or was that F? No, it was a G. Let's go down. Copy it, move it over here. Okay. So I had this guy, this guy, this guy, and this guy. I'll hold those all down and put them to 2, 2. Okay. Oop, I think I missed one. I'll leave it. Okay. I could dive deeper into that and have a whole lot of fun. That's honestly what I like to do with the modal cycles. I like to add just a lot of punctuation with random notes and stuff like that, just to kind of make it, I don't know, feel really alive. But at minimum, what you can do is stick on one pattern, but give it more variation with those trig conditions. Get rid of that for now. But that's what I love about this little machine, because it has all of that packed in there, and with all those tricks together, you can write some pretty decent stuff. Like I mentioned, I did a whole album on this thing, and I couldn't be happier. It was a great experience. It helped me finish something for once. Oh, I got some hearts. Thank you, somebody. It's just, here's a little context for me. Like, I have been playing music for a long time, and I played in some performing bands, went into some studios, tried to finish some albums, bands fall apart, you don't get it done. So I've played that so many times, that scenario. And so I've been playing music for over 20 years, and I've never had a finished album to show somebody what I can actually do, because I don't really play live anymore. So I got this little guy, like I mentioned earlier. That's probably not going to show up because the dang thing got cut off earlier, my stream did. But what I was talking about in the beginning of that previous stream was that I got this on a whim. Definitely didn't think it was a product for me, but I just needed something small that I would consider. You know, it wasn't cheap, but I still got it at that time. It was only like $225, which was a really good deal. I think it's like $400 now. Crazy. But I got it, and it wasn't like, I'm not saying I'm not rich by any means, but like I had my other synths that were costing like $700 to $800 to $1,000, and I thought, well, if I'm gonna get on a plane and fly all around and help my wife out and all that stuff, and just kind of do all that stuff, I want something that, like, if I left on the plane, yeah, I'm gonna be mad, I'm gonna be really upset, but I'm not gonna be like, I left my Digitone or I left my Digitech, get me back on that plane. I just wanted something I thought would be tactile, would be enjoyable enough, because I love Elektron products, but I really thought this thing was kind of a gimmick. I thought I was going to write some fun percussion lines on it and maybe just work better on sequencing and stuff like that. After I dove into it, holy cow, I realized this is a full, complete groovebox. Complete. Yes, it doesn't have everything you can imagine from modern grooveboxes, but for what it is its own complete groovebox. And I realized that by all the little tricks and stuff that I learned and really squeezing this thing, I could make full songs that I was really happy with. And I honestly couldn't have been happier with them. I'm really happy. I've got probably 3 albums worth of songs that I've made with this guy that I'm slowly going to work on over time. But yeah, I highly recommend it. It's very easily powered by simple phone chargers. It doesn't take a lot of power, and they had some sort of product that they came out with that was supposed to use like these little holes here to turn into a handle you can put batteries in, but I guess it was overheating or something, so they discontinued that. But I never worried about it because I bought a little simple case for it. I put in the little battery in there and plugged it in with some headphones, and I took it everywhere. And for about 2 or 3 weeks, it was the only piece of equipment I had, and I really dug in and just fell in love with it. I think the only thing I wish that they would honestly do for this would give you multi recording out of USB. I don't think the chip's powerful enough. I think that's what they said a long time ago. But if they came out with an XL version and that's literally all they added, I would buy it, because the ability to just go ahead and record all the tracks out at the same time. What I had to do when I made the album was literally mute each track except for one, solo it effectively, and record that, and then go back and record that, and then go back and record the next one, and do that. And then I'd go through and play them with the parameter, control all or whatever, and kind of live perform, and I had to record those. And it took a long time, so long that I probably won't do another album on this thing because of that, even though I should. But yeah, anyway, just to kind of wrap up, it's so much more than it looks. It's a cheap little plastic body, but it actually is pretty well engineered, I have to say. The knobs, these buttons here that are supposed to be very responsive according to the manual, are not responsive. There's probably somebody out there doing a mod kit of some kind that might be worth it, but I usually just play off these sequencers. But most importantly, it's rather playable from this guy too, I have to say. But yeah, you can really have a ball with this guy. And if you aren't in the Elektron ecosystem yet, and you're saying, I don't want to spend whatever, $1,600 on a tone verk, $1,200 now, I think is the Digitone, maybe it's 11, the Digitone 2 and Digitac 2. It's a lot of money. I think you can find these pretty well used. I'm sure you can find them well used. You can find them at a good price as a used model, probably in the $150, $200 range. I see them sell for that often, modal samples and this one. And those are very similar to each other. So I think either one would be really good, fun to have. But I do love this thing. And I'm glad you guys joined me tonight. I'm very happy that everybody came out and checked it out. And I am going to continue streaming. I'm actually going to probably change it up here in a little bit. So I'm going to start doing more about sampling the synths that I make the presets from and sharing those. So I'm going to change it up a little bit more and be more focused on getting something that I can give out to you guys, most likely just the raw samples starting, and then maybe figure out a way to start giving out ones that are more curated for my various machines over here. So I've got the Tone Verk, I've got the Machine Plus, I've got the MPC Live 2, not the 3, but the 2, and I have the OPXY. And what I would like to do is start making samples that I can then curate into actual patches and multi-samples and such, and then make those specifically for those different instruments. In that way, I don't know, give them away for a while, maybe eventually sell them, who knows. But that's probably what I'm going to do with the streaming more, and occasionally maybe bust out something like this and do a little groove. But anyway, thank you so much. If you do like what I'm doing, please like and subscribe. And I will be doing streaming every Tuesday at 8 p.m. Granted, sometimes I will miss it. Who knows? Last week I wasn't feeling well, so I took a break. But that is my goal, is to be here every Tuesday at 8 p.m. And so if you are interested, please come back and join me. And yeah, thank you, Clayton Gibb 6962. Thank you very much for commenting. That really, really makes me feel good to see people out there reaching out. So I appreciate that very much. And I hope to see you all